Yoav Zaytoun, one of the military commentators or correspondents for Yediot Ahronot newspaper, just posted this very long post on Twitter today with video that he had taken. He spent the past couple of weeks with IDF forces from the Golani Brigade and Tank Brigade number 188 in the north. And he came back with one hell of a story about what's actually happening in the far north that used to be everybody's vacation land and an integral part of Israel. So since October 7th, as most of you know, or right after October 7th, Israel evacuated about between 60 and 80,000 of its citizens from their homes in the border communities abutting Lebanon. That's because Hezbollah, the Iranian proxy that controls Lebanon, has deployed its forces, tens of thousands of them, in what they call their Radwan brigades, to Israel's border. The Radwan brigades are actually residents of the villages in South Lebanon, and they operate from within their own homes when they plot their attacks against Israel, when they observe Israeli positions and shoot at Israeli convoys, etc., etc. I think we've spoken about this in the past, but following the 2006 war with Hezbollah, Israel destroyed a lot of buildings in South Lebanon. And in the reconstruction effort that Hezbollah carried out after the war was over with Iran's money and direction, all of the new built homes that replaced the ones that were destroyed during the war were built with missile rooms inside, not with shelters, but with actual missile rooms, so that they all became, all of the apartments, all of the homes that were built after 2006, the last war in Lebanon, were built as offensive positions against Israel for missile launches, for drone launches, for rocket launches, etc. So the actual homes in Lebanon were preconceived as launching pads for missiles, and the residents of these apartments, of these towns, are members of Hezbollah's elite Radwan brigades. They're, veterans of the wars in Syria, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and now they're all waiting to invade Israel. So knowing that the Radwan brigades were poised along the border with Israel, the government wisely said, well, we can't have a much larger repeat of what happened in the border communities with Gaza just now on October 7th. So around October 8th, 9th, 10th, Israel started very quickly evacuating the civilians in northern Israel from their homes along the border with Lebanon so that they wouldn't be overrun and we wouldn't see October 7th to the nth degree in northern Israel, because Hezbollah is much more powerful than Hamas, and we saw how much damage Hamas could do with the power that it had aggregated over the years since Israel withdrew from Gaza in 2005. So it was a wise decision in my view, and also it requires the government to actually take action against Hezbollah, because we need to have our residents go home. We need the buffer zone to be as it was until Ehud Barak, the worst prime minister probably in Israeli history, removed all IDF forces from our security zone inside of South Lebanon, and so protected the north. He removed everybody, said we can play Chicken Little. That's our new strategy. We're going to build a big fence and everything will be okay. It totally failed immediately, but that's another story for another day. So we removed our forces from our border zone, from our buffer zone inside of South Lebanon on May 31st, 2000. And now in May 2024, we have built the Hezbollah basically has a security zone inside of Israel where all of the civilians are no longer able to live in their homes. And Hezbollah has been picking out, destroying both strategic targets belonging to the Air Force and other forces in Israel with their anti-tank rockets that move so quickly and at such a low trajectory that you get no prior warning before they explode, and we have no ability to intercept them. So they've been attacking strategic Air Force air control balloons and other things for the past many months, and it's really, really apparently caused damage. And they're also destroying civilian homes one by one, and they threaten all the military convoys and civilians who are trying to drive along the border region in areas like Kiryat Shmona and all the kibbutzim and other areas in the north, and even going down to the Western Galilee and, of course, the Golan Heights. So the whole area, which is the most beautiful, in my opinion, area of Israel, is now not only depopulated, but it's also very dangerous for IDF forces. Zaytoun's report from northern Israel showed that Israel had basically transform this its primary tourist area, for at least for Israelis, into just a line of fortifications, not only along the border but also further back, in anticipation of an invasion from Lebanon. So rather than being in an offensive posture, we're in a defensive posture, which obviously is untenable in the long term, but that's where we are today. And why are we in that position today? Because the Biden administration is imposing arms embargoes on Israel and isolating Israel in the international community, so that if we're forced to carry out a ground invasion of Lebanon, which I think everybody assumes we will be because there's no other way around it unless we totally capitulate to Hezbollah, then we're going to be doing it with only basically the arms that we can produce ourselves. And so we want to delay it, I think, as long as possible. So Benny Gantz's demand that people be allowed to go home in September basically is saying we want to capitulate to all of Hezbollah's demands for quiet in the north and just render the north, again, an entire area of the country that's at the mercy of Hezbollah and its ground forces in the south, and of course its massive missile, rocket, and drone arsenal that are larger than most countries in the entire world. In fact, it's larger than anything that the European countries have.